boxing truth here. All right, let's talk about Jermall Charlo, the better of the twin brothers, between the Charlo brothers, the better of the two fighters. And let's talk about who he's going to fight in 2020. Now, Charlo, his career has been delayed. It's going nowhere because he's on the other side of the street. He's in a division where PBC doesn't have any control. And as a result, he's had a very mediocre title reign as middleweight champion of the WBC. He was given the belt. I hate the WBC with their bullshit franchise rule now. They don't even have the balls to enforce mandatories. I've lost so much respect for WBC. I can't stand them. They're annoying. They're corny. They freaking get involved in other organizations' fights, handing palooka belts for fights they're not even involved in, that they haven't even sanctioned. That's why WBO is king. You know what I'm saying? WBO is the best belt in boxing because they don't be doing the bullshit that the WBC be doing. So, mediocre title reign for Jermall Charlo. I like Charlo. I like the way he fights. He brings some excitement to the sport in terms of his style. He comes to fight, doesn't come to dance, looks to do damage to his opponents. So when Charlo fights, I do tune in, you know what I'm saying? But they got to do better than this. I mean, he's fighting 54-pounders, even though he's the middleweight champion. Fighting Munguia leftovers. Fighting Monroe leftovers. Not having a great performance against Korobov. I thought he won the fight, but, it wasn't his best performance. Centeno Jr., a guy with one leg in Highland. So we need to step up in 2020. And he's been offered the Demetrius Andrade fight for whatever amount of money he's been offered. I'm not sure what the exact figure is. I'm hearing different numbers: 7 million, 4.5 million, 5 million. I'm pretty sure it's a significant offer since Eddie Hearn has been opening up his checkbook. Even if it results into another promoter's fighter coming over and whipping one of his fighters' asses. But, credit to Eddie Hearn for at least rolling the dice with his fighters. That's why I respect Hearn. He's willing to roll the dice. He's willing to gamble. He's not a pussy when it comes to his fighters. Frank Warren is another promoter who is not a pussy when it comes to his fighters. He's willing to roll the dice. So I think PBC will step it up in 2020 since Charlo has been being courted by Hearn to try to at least do a one-fight deal over there. He's even trying to entice him to a multi-fight deal, and I'm sure he's throwing him some big figures. So Al Heyman and PBC, they got to step it up for Charlo in whatever way they can. Whether they're going to offer Andrade a fight, probably not. Showtime don't have the budget to compete with what the Zone's offering for a potential Charlo Andrade fight, and I don't think Fox has any interest in putting this fight on pay-per-view and losing some money on a fight that really boxing is not. I mean, outside of hardcore heads, I don't really need to see the fight, to be honest. I mean, it is a 50-50 fight. It is a competitive fight. I really don't know who would win the fight right now. I got to do a lot of studying for a potential fight of that happening. But if it doesn't happen, so be it. I'm not really dying to see that fight. There's other better fights out there for both guys, actually. So Charlo, I believe, is going to fight Chris Eubank Jr. next. That's been in the plans. He's most likely going to be remaining on the Showtime platform for now, since Showtime is pretty much running on fumes. It looks like they're on their way out. You know what I'm saying? It looks like the ship is almost halfway sinking. But he's going to fight Charlo next, I believe, and I like Charlo big in that fight. As much as I hate to say it, I like Eubank, but he just hasn't improved technically. He has world-class stamina, world-class gas tank, toughness, grit, heart, balls, but the one major weakness is his technical skills, and he's still getting outboxed by washed guys. You know what I'm saying? He was lucky to get out of that fight against Korobov. He was losing that fight pretty big in the first round. Would have been interesting to see had that fight had gone further. Maybe Eubank would have drowned him, but it wasn't looking good in that first round, man. He was getting hit with some big ass shots, and I put a shitload of money on Eubank to win, so I was happy that fight was over when it ended. When Korobov hurt his shoulder or tore his rotator cuff or something. So I was happy as hell that that fight was ended the way it did, because it wasn't looking good in the first round. But Charlo should get past Eubank. I like Charlo big in that fight. Might possibly even knock out Chris Eubank Jr. And what's an interesting title defense, a big name. Eubank's gonna still be confident, thinking he could make a statement against Charlo. Doesn't view Charlo as a strong champion, but Charlo is one of the best middleweights in the world, despite the unproven track record at middleweight. I still think he is a very good fighter, and he would be a threat to many top middleweights, and possibly would beat an Asian Golovkin right now, but he's probably never going to get that opportunity, unfortunately. But Charlo should get past Eubank, and eventually I believe the next fight after that he'll fight Sergiy Derevyanchenko. What will be his first mandatory title defense for the WBC. It's long overdue. It should be fulfilled. And Derevyanchenko is a worthy challenger. He'll give a good fight. It'll be a good fight for Charlo. A guy who's experienced in terms at the top level, has been in there with top guys, gave a good account of himself. Came up short against Golovkin, but really put in a great effort. And it will be a difficult fight for Charlo, but I don't see Derevyanchenko getting a decision against an American fighter on American soil. He's not a big enough puncher, I believe, to get Charlo out of there. So I see Charlo edging that fight in what will be a competitive fight, but he probably edges the fight in the decision against Derevyanchenko. But at least it's a step in the right direction. Charlo's career has stagnated for a while, ever since he knocked out Julian Williams, but at least is in the right direction. He's fighting, at least legitimate middleweights and contenders at that as well. So this could be a start to something bigger down the line for Charlo. Maybe perhaps a move up in weight to fight David Benavidez, or the winner of Benavidez versus Plant. If that unification occurs, maybe he gets a shot at a DAZN fighter down the road. I mean, who knows? But I expect a better year when it comes to opponent-wise for Charlo. I still think he will remain undefeated, and perhaps 2021 is going to be his year when he gets a chance to finally get that elite fight that he's been yearning for. He's going to be 30 years old, so the timing is perfect for Charlo to finally get his chance, his big fight. But I don't believe it's going to happen in 2020. But 2021 is when I feel he'll finally get his chance to prove that he's an elite fighter. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.